Dive even deeper into competitive 40K and become a member of the world's most knowledgeable and positive community.
The War Room is an exclusive group that brings together the world's best 40K players as coaches to help anyone from a newer player to an experienced tournament veteran learn, grow, and reach their goals within our shared hobby.
Each week we offer a variety of live stream coaching matches centered around illuminating the thought process and in-game decision making of top players. We explain everything we're doing and why.
You'll learn about the ever-evolving meta, match play mission theory, list making, and discussion of every faction in the game, and have access to analysis of all the latest rules. Our team of highly experienced coaches teach weekly clinics on each individual faction, strategy sessions on deployment and cool tricks, and meta-analyses each week during Meta Monday.
We are committed to not only providing the best knowledge for players available, but also building a one-of-a-kind community.
Come be a part of the War Room.
Hello everyone, we are Art of War.
And we believe in creating a community where people can talk about, learn, and improve their skills at Warhammer 40K.
Our channel has live stream competitive matches of 40K played by the best players in the world.
And we focus on teaching you how to get better at Warhammer while also emphasizing sportsmanship and engagement with our audience.
We strive to play every faction in the game to a top level, while also using a variety of lists to show off different playstyles for every faction.
We also offer a variety of other videos such as codex reviews, faction rankings, and tactics videos.
When you join our channel, you become part of our community, where we emphasize learning and positive conversation about competitive 40K.
You get early access to our videos, sub-badges, emotes, as well as rewatch those hangout and hobby sessions.
Joining our community is a great way for you to show your support for us, so we can keep making awesome videos for you and continuously expand the bounds of competitive 40K.
Hello everyone and welcome once again to your 40K Today. Just waiting for Matt Marsoli, who's going to be joining us right here today. Part of the quick delay this morning and of course schedule over here, which I believe is not the right schedule. But we're going to be talking about a variety of different things that happen. And look at that, right on cue. This is how it works, right on cue. Matt Marsoli himself has shown up right on time. This is fantastic. We couldn't have planned this better. This is great. Hello, Matt. How are you?
I'm great. I sense that I missed something, but
you just missed the intro where I was like, and Matt's going to show up right now. And then you were like, boop, you showed up. I was like, yes.
That's it. I have been here exactly when I needed to be here. That's all I want to see. I'm doing really well, buddy. How are you?
I'm fantastic, thank you. We've got some really cool stuff to chat about today. We got some new releases. We got tournament news. We got a variety of different things that have happened that kind of come out of the woodwork, and really excited to sort of like discuss it all. We had the New Orleans GT that happened, or the major 40K US Open Series continues with a very large event that happened this weekend. We saw a lot of really fun lists, good streams, and one of the most exciting final games that we've seen in like a stream game in a very long time. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Oh, look, I think that purely from a hobby point of view, the GW stream is really, really good because you see not only some really good games, and they've done a really good job of getting, Nick and Paul on as commentators who really understand the game, but the way that, they showcase really cool looking armies as well as just the best armies is great. And the quality of the stream, the zooming in on models getting picked up, the zooming in on model placement, it's all just really, really great for the game. I think there's a viewing experience. That's really what, 40K needs to be like to become a spectator sport, because honestly, a lot of streaming has been, maybe not boring, but a bit dull for, extended periods of time for a long time. And this sort of, take on it, the way that they produce the stream, it just looks, so entertaining, and it's just great to watch. So I love it. I love seeing content like this because it just shows that everyone in this sort of, competitive 40K streaming community is getting better and better at what they're doing, every single event. And it was fantastic to watch as someone who's in lockdown at the moment and can't really play that many games, getting to watch great content is, sort of the closest I get to it. And whenever you watch a final game and you can sort of, feel your heart beating just a little bit, trying to figure out what's going to go on, it's obviously 100 times as much for the players who are in that situation. But if you can feel even a little bit of that, it really sort of goes to show the intensity and how close that final game was.
Oh yeah, 100%. We had Orcs doing well. We had Adeptus Mechanicus doing well. We had a Night List doing really well. That was using 3 blades. Like you and I discussed this on the Meta Monday this morning. But it was a very creative use of different units in a variety of different codexes. Even a Thousand Suns list that came in in the top bracket, when 8th place out of hundreds and hundreds of players, didn't even have Armon in it.
Had a Forge Fiend, had a Hellbrews, had 3 Contemptors with different guns on the Contemptors too.
Yeah. What is this madness? It just shows how we're seeing skilled players take units or take list combinations at a competitive level in Warhammer 40,000 right now that sort of aren't the run of the mill, aren't the de facto choices. Granted, shout out to our very own Richard Siegler, who came in first, defeating Mr. Brad Chester in a 2-point final, which was, spoiler alert, amazing. It was such a close, tight game. And normally you just see Adeptus Mechanicus kind of win the role to go first, and just you're shoveling models off the table, with a giant spade as all your models die. But that's not really the case. We also had the No Retreat 10, which happens in Gibraltar, happened this weekend. Great variety of players away, high level of play. And then we had, in the finals, we had a Grey Knight list playing Custodes at a 2,000 point level. And the Custodes only losing by 4 points in in the top table of competition.
Yeah, relatively tuned Grey Knight list too. Maybe not the best Grey Knight list, but it was by no means a slouch. That's an army that can do some damage. It was 4 Dread Knights. It was a all-out buffed up GM Dread Knight. 3 of his buddies, all sword bearers, all can get the 3 damage Psy Cannons. That's a lot of damage coming in. The Custodian player did really well to keep it that tight as an army that traditionally doesn't do a lot of damage and doesn't really hit back that well. It just sort of sits around and survives. It's a lot of damage coming in to sort of sit there and take and end up that close on the scoreboard.
No, 100%. Custodes, of course, not necessarily the newest army on the block when it comes to, in terms of 8th versus 9th edition. However, having a lot of the tools that you sort of need to compete, durability, the ability to sort of damage potential and kind of stick-ativity to the board state so they can kind of hold those objectives for longer periods of time over the course of the board. And last but not least, we had a third sort of GT that happened over the course of the weekend. That was also won by Adeptus Mechanicus, and in this more traditional fashion. Adeptus Mechanicus probably winning the role to go first, and then just annihilating their demon opponent. Only allowing their demon opponent to score 19 points.
I did like the... there were 110 points scored cumulatively in that game, and 91 went to the academic player.
91 points to the Adeptus Mechanicus.
I feel that one on a spiritual level because... Man, playing demons right now is tough. Honestly, the book it's got some cool things, but it's honestly not very good. I feel crushed for the bloke getting to the top table and then being handed down that one. It feels pretty bad. But hey, good effort getting to that point with demons. Demons are not a good book right now. Demons have got some great units, but I don't understand a world where the number of things in other armies can deep strike for free and I'm paying command points. 2 command points to deep strike 21 bloodletters, by the way. Ridiculous. Not on board with that at all.
Well, it is. I'm assuming, in terms of game mechanics, one of the older books that we've seen, that sort of thing. One of the variety of things that you can discuss. And does it need an update? Sure, 100%. When will it get an update? You tell us. We have no idea. It would be good to know. It'd be fun to know or what they're thinking about changing. But it'll be like a surprise. We'll all open it up. It'll come wrapped in a ribbon, and a Nurgling will pop out and say surprise. It'll be fantastic.
Yeah.
Comments overall in terms of the meta this week. Variety at the top, still like a good variety. Adeptus Mechanicus still really strong. Not as many Drukhari as we would have thought. Like, yes, at the US Open, but in the other events that we saw, they weren't really that prominent.
Yeah, in the US Open, the 2 Drukhari lists that made the top 4 were very different, though. So, Brad opting for like the MSU Raiders, Hellions, like that sort of, like that heavier MSU style army, while the other one, I've forgotten the guy's name. I'm really sorry if you're watching or if you know this guy,
Anthony?
but he had all the Kronos and the Telos. That must be it.
The
Kronos
Kronos,
and the Telos. So that's right. Yes. So 2 different types of armies there as well, and I think especially look, we talked about it again earlier today in Meta Monday, but the terrain placement in this event plays a really big part. Again, the tables, having essentially the same terrain setup every single mission, the way they rotate the buildings and the sort of the sort of cover that you've got. I feel like units like the Kronos are really great there because you need something really durable that can actually go out into the open at some point and just sit in an objective and live. Because the middle, like I said, the boards may not have been barren, but the middle of those tables, they were open. There were firing lanes right through the middle of those tables, and sometimes you need something durable to go sit in an objective and not die, and Kronos deliver.
Absolutely. Okay, we even saw like a really cool Tyrant that's kind of doing some work over the course of the weekend. So, let us know what you think, in terms of the meta. Do you think it's completely hopeless for other armies that aren't Drukhari and Adeptus Mechanicus? Let us know why down below, because we're always curious to see what your thoughts are as we develop our own thoughts. And a lot of people have opinions, Matt, and we like to listen and read opinions, because then we can kind of squash them. Ha ha! So
I like all opinions. I just don't listen to all opinions.
Oh, there you go.
You're allowed to have them.
No,
just
no,
don't tell me.
You're not allowed to have any opinions whatsoever. You have to go with what we say all the time, 100% of the time.
No. They're allowed to have opinions. They just can't bother us with them.
This is great journalism right here. Flyers and direct fire is the issue. Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks a lot for your comments in the descriptions and stuff like that. Okay, so moving on away from the tournament scene, it is your variety show today. The next thing I want to talk about is something that's near and dear to my heart. Black Templars are getting a pre-release this Saturday. Oh, the Black Templar box set is up for pre-release. Are you gonna get one, Matt? Are you going to order one?
So I'll be honest with you. I probably couldn't if I tried with the supply chain problems down here. I'm not a Space Marine player. So I've just... Black Templars are probably my favorite Space Marines. I think they're just one of the coolest chapters.
You filthy psyker, you.
I'm just not a Space Marine player, unfortunately. I don't own any Space Marines. I've been playing 40k for... 15 years, a long time. like 15 years, and I've never played Space Marines, and I feel like it would be stupid of me to start playing Space Marines now, because it's funny to say, I've played 40k since 4th Ed, and I've never played Space Marines. Oh, yeah. So, no, probably not, but I'm going to admire the very good paint jobs that
the pretty Marines that tie their things to their wrists with chains or whatever it is. But all in all, there was a couple of releases. They had previewed the Black Templar box set, which is going to have a Redemptor Dreadnought. It's going to have a Crusader Squad, which has new Primaris Neophytes, which I'm not sure if they're going to be like Primaris Scouts or what the lore is behind them. Like, the lore is they have to hang out with the others, but that's really cool. A brand new Empress Champion, which they previewed, and a Marshal, like another captain, like a Primaris Captain, but is decked out in different gear and stuff, and he's going to be a Marshal, which is pretty cool. All in all, really cool aesthetic. Codex comes in there, like all your cards come in there and stuff. And they talked about vows and passions and stuff like that, which, as a Black Templar player, they didn't explain what that is. But I know what a vow is, based on the fact that I play Black Templars forever, which is really exciting to me, to feel like I'm going to be able to... like, before it was like, you Empress Champion picked Vow, and that, like, helped the whole army. So, if Vows are back, oh my goodness. That's amazing. I love the whole aesthetic of just picking your vow before the game or something. It'll be like, I'm gonna fight these guys like this, and it was
Yeah.
like you had one against psychers, and you had one that made you stronger, and you had one that made you better in combat, and you had one that like was the defense one or whatever. And you had all 4 of them in the old codex. So I'm curious to see what they do with that. But all in all,
Yeah.
exciting. If you're a Black Templars or Marine player, really cool. They're like the most flavorful chapter ever. Just saying.
Yeah, I love stuff like that because, look, I feel like Ninth Edition, it took a lot of flexibility out of lists because you don't pick psychic powers each game, you put them on your list. And to be fair, that has made the game faster. Like, I will give it to, GW on that one. I didn't think it was going to make any difference, but it has made the game faster.
Yeah.
But I love having little things you can change each game. Just little things like that. And if you get a set of rules like that, it's just cool because it adds flexibility. And then what it does is it opens up list building to things like units that can use different vows in different ways so that you've got this flexibility built into the army. So I love seeing stuff like that because I think it's just good for the game. Now, on a slightly more potentially controversial topic, how are you going to use Devout Push for the last time? Because I think everyone is saying that it's going away.
You think it's going
away?
away?
What are your thoughts on that?
Is that you think it's going to go away?
I think it's going away. I think in its current form, it's going away. It's a little bit, again, potentially broken the way that it's worded, right? Because it's a bit of a funky rules interaction.
Yeah.
So, what do you think is going to happen there? Do you think they're going to retain it kind of like they did with Astrolane, but make it a little bit different? Or what's sort of your thoughts on that one? Because that's been a pretty hotly contested topic. I've heard a lot of different thoughts on what people think is going to happen with that.
To be honest, I am not sure. Like, if anything, like Devout Push is one of those things that you play it, and only people who play Black Templar really understand how stupid Devout Push is. Like it is game breaking. Like it bypasses all the rules of the game. How would I fix it if I was Games Workshop? I would probably make it like a fight again potentially, or like something like that. Like being able to that'll give you additional movement, but like it's already sort of like you have to already kind of be stuck in combat and potentially like fight better or whatever. So I could see that being the case. Who knows though? Is it going to be the same as it was? Heck no. Like it's not going to be the
don't
same.
think so.
No way. No way in heck. So I believe if you're a Black Templar player who loves Devout Push, I think it's like the end of Devout Push. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably fair because, again, right now it's very abusable if you understand the mechanics of what makes it so good in detail. But I think they could even give you, maybe if it only works in your turn, even though they just give you a pile-in your turn, even if you don't charge or something like that, that'd be cool. I like it. I think it's a cool mechanic. I think it's just a bit funky the way that it works right now. But I'm looking forward to it because I think Black Templars is like the coolest Marines. So there's a lot of flavor there. The army is just, it's a cool aesthetic. It's a cool theme. I'm a big fan.
Well, talking about Black Templars as well, today they released the like pictures and stuff of the Sword Brethren. So there's going to be this whole new unit of Space Marine veterans, Sword Brethren. What? They have like a whole kit and everything. They've got like tabards. And if you're a classic Space Marine player like myself, they are essentially the old metal true scale Marines, except now Primaris-sized. And they look amazing. Did you take a look at them too?
Yeah, they're really cool. They kind of remind me of like, I don't know, it's kind of like the Legion of the Damned vibe is what I'm getting from them. Just the way, like the ornate helmets and stuff like that. They're very, very cool. I'm a big fan. I think they'll be a bit more detailed and they'll probably look a bit, cooler than those old models did. But I think all the new Marine sculpts, I will say that GW have done a really good job of making the Marine models that are coming out now all very different from each other. Yeah. Back in the, the day it felt like you bought one Marine kit and you painted it to match your chapter and that was kind of it. But now they've all got these very distinct, looks and feels about them.
Yeah.
And these guys are really, really cool. I love the guy with the axe. The axe is it looks so menacing. That dude, he just looks very, very primo. I'm a big fan.
Like I think axes and hey Josue, how's it going? I feel like axes and I think axes and maces are very like like a Warhammer style mace. I know. Anyway, all in all, go take a look at the Warhammer community, the Warhammer community social media sites. And take a look at these Black Templar Sword Brethren. They look incredible. Yeah. So other than that, looking into like the future, do we have any events coming up, Matt?
Not really over here. What's going on in the world of the
So I know
US?
that, for example, in a couple of weeks there'll be the Stutter Snotling GT, which is like one of the bigger events that's going to have happened in Canada. So make sure you stay tuned for more content as we get close to that event. We'll be covering it like most of the other events that we do in the Art Warp, except I get to go to an event actually. Finally, after
Hey,
so long. And I think Brad's coming too. So we'll be able to potentially have a little bit of a Drukari off if he
Ooh.
decides to take the Drukari. Gotta put old man in his place. Oh, that's a lie because he's had way more practice than me over the last
Yeah.
like 3 months or whatever. Ah, so good, so good. Huge shout out to all of the people in chat. Thanks for hanging out with us today on the Monday show. As a quick reminder, I did fix the schedule, so you can see all the stuff that's coming up on YouTube and on the War Room. The War Room being, where the Art of War members get to hang out, and we do a whole bunch of variety of different things, from clinics to a whole bunch of stuff. But this Wednesday, there's a hangout on Hobby, as well as the YouTube match on Thursday, 1 p.m., where we'll have some Drukari facing off against some Space Marine action. Who do you root for in that scenario there?
Well, I've already said I'm not a Space Marine player, so man, I'm right on the Drakari
means you can't
train.
even root for them, like not one bit.
Well, look, I'll root for the pain and suffering of the Space Marines at the hands of the Drakari. There, I just Drakari is my true love, my first army that I played competitively. Like everyone sort of knows me as the Chaos guy, but I played nothing but Drakari and Dark Olar back in the day, all through 5th edition, all through 6th edition. It's it's my favorite army, man. Like I want to see them get up. I like their chances right now too. I am very much looking forward to the Templars getting busted out in the in the YouTube matches pretty soon. No, I feel like there's going to be some cool stuff in there, and I can't wait to see the guys get it out on the table and just sort of stretch its legs and see what it can do.
Yeah, I'm just checking what other event we have happening this weekend over here, because it's one of those things where we try and keep we keep an up-to-date profile. But I believe the team is off to another event this weekend, which is pretty awesome, if you ask me. I like being able to go to all of the stuffs. Now, Richard Siegler, is this like the first event he's won big this season?
To my mind, yes. I can only think of the previous GW event where John got over the top of him. I could be missing a smaller one, but I think it might be his first big win of the year.
Yeah. Now, do you think Black Templars are going to have a big impact on the meta? Like John Lennon even took Black Templars to like the Orleans GT.
Yeah, look, I'm hoping they do, because I think right now anything that can come in and shake it up is a good thing. I think it's not stagnant, but it's we've had a couple of releases since Adnec now, and nothing has really changed.
He won Orlando. Okay, yeah, Siegler won Orlando too. Like he won, and he knocked both of the he knocked John out in Orlando. Is that right, or was it Brad both times? It was one or the other. I thought he lost in Orlando. Yeah, I think he got knocked out by John. John Lennon beat him in Orlando. And then
John won Orlando.
Yeah, John won Orlando. Of course, John the Boy King. Like, where have you been? Under a rock, Punk Fox? Apparently, we can't even remember here either. Which is
apparently won Michigan GT. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry, Richard. I didn't mean to discredit you.
That's okay.
You're my favorite robot. It's all right.
Beep 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 boop beep beep. I love it, which is fantastic. Well, than that, like it is a relative quiet week in terms of releases for 40K. We have gearing up to the end of the season. This month we only have the one codex coming out. Is it going to have a big impact on the meta? Who knows? I have a feeling it will, because Black Templars tend to have some... Well, they're Space Marines. They're competing with other Space Marine sort of factions in that sense.
What I do think, though, is that there'll be a lot of Marine players who will jump on the Black Templars.
Siegler did win Orlando. Okay, so yes, he's two of the GW events with his crazy Skitarii list, except this time he took more planes than he did last time. And by more planes, I mean all the planes. But yes, I believe you're right, chat. Thank you for putting us in our place here at 40K Today, where we discuss about tomorrow and think about yesterday.
Yeah, and also don't know what happened 3 months ago.
To be honest, I feel like the meta right now and correct me if I'm wrong, chat, it just seems to be going so fast. It's like at a crazy pace. Like it's hard to kind of keep up. If you're a new player coming into the tournament scene, you've got to like know your codex, find the FAQ, find like the point changes, and then like look at the game format, then read the tournament like format for the tournament, and then look at the train pack. And wouldn't it be really overwhelming for you?
Yeah, I could see that. I do feel like it's been maybe stagnant is the wrong word, because I feel like a few books have come out since AdMech, or is it just Orcs since AdMech? But regardless, a few things have come out since AdMech, and it hasn't really changed the pecking order of things. Like Drukhari feel like they've been strong forever at this point. Like they feel like they've just been really, really strong forever. And AdMech feel like they've been, maybe oppressive is a little bit too much, but they've been very, very strong for a shorter period of time. But I feel like so far nothing that's come out has really shaken that up. And look, I know we were sort of promised 2 like chapter approved releases a year, and I think we're on schedule to get one in November. I'm really looking forward to that because I think that's going to be the big shake-up. I think that's where the big changes are going to be. But yeah, we're getting BT. We're getting it looks like a Tyranid book, whether it's Tyranids or GSC, based on that preview pretty soon as well. I feel like Tyranids are more likely to shake the meta up. I think that sort of army, it has the potential to sort of do a lot of different things. Like I feel like Templars are kind of, because they're a melee army, they don't really interact with the planes in the AdMech army, and it's kind of not going to change things too much there. But I feel like Tyranids have a bigger potential to shake the meta up, if that makes sense, because they sort of do a little bit of everything. They can play in every phase a bit differently to the way that Marine armies can. So that's sort of what I'm thinking. I don't know that Templars are going to have a huge impact, but I feel like Tyranids or GSC are going to
Tyranids are bound, are scheduled, at least close to come up, and we'll have more news when that comes up. But they're scheduled to have or be featured in the latest sort of like campaign book, right? Like you had the Charadon, right? Book Act 1, Act 2, but there's going to be a new book that has the Tyranid stuff. And they previewed a few of those things in there. I wonder how much of that is something that they're, stuff that they're thinking about releasing for Tyranids or moving forward with them. GW tends to put rules and game mechanics in campaign supplements and things like that they eventually end up putting into like actual codexes and actual rule books. So it's always good to look at all these like weird supplements they've done. Like I recently picked up Urban Conquest. This is like on a side note, which is like Cities of Death campaign stuff. However, a lot of those mechanics that they released in like 7th edition were like things that they ended up putting into 8th edition, right?
Yeah.
Like they had kind of morphed into there as well. So the chat had to double check who won what tournaments, and they aren't holding it against us. Thank you, thank you very much, chat. Really appreciate the vote of confidence.
Yeah, look, I'll be honest. When these events are streamed, it's often very, very late or very, very early my time. And I'll be honest, I fall asleep during them sometimes. So I apologize for not actually knowing what's going on. Half of these games last weekend were on at 3 a.m. my time. So I've had a weekend of not really sleeping all that much.
Well, makes sense. But, we had, was it Nick Nanavati and Paul Murphy from Forge the Narrative podcast, and Nick Nanavati from, of course, our very own Art of War, the Brown Magic himself. They shoutcasted the entire weekend. That's 3 days of shoutcasting, and in terms of 40K coverage, the U.S. Open events are doing a great job. I think they've been, of course, I think it's like Val Heffelfinger and like, like the team the Ocho team that they've kind of like done with Paul and the crew. They've put a lot of work and effort into streaming multiple tables at the same time. Like they have like all of this, and I guess with GW's help, they've got like a lot of extra gear and stuff like that. But they have they were bouncing around from table to table, and they weren't just streaming 1 or 2 tables. They were streaming like 4 tables or something crazy. Like, they had a lot of coverage for the event, and the table bosses would relay information back. So if you want like a really good, comprehensive, like, play-by-play with 2 very knowledgeable people on the game that were able to not only look at a table and eliminate and sort of like interpret the game state of the table and then tell you what was happening. They had like the toolkits where they could like, circle the layers of the table so you knew like what area of the table they're talking about, and they had the zoom feature, which I don't know if they figured it out, but it literally they press it and it like zoom right into the table. I don't know if it's just like a glitch or something. It's hilarious. And all in all, I thought it was a great job done by the team. Now, and it kind of shows you like the direction that 40K coverage is going. Where we're going to be able to sit down and kind of put it on the television on the weekend, like your football or your baseball or whatever, and just have it in the background and people playing. And I think that's really cool moving forward into the future.
Yeah, I think in 2019, sort of before the world had its big freak out, Pro Tabletop did a really great job at the Invitational event they ran. That sort of like felt like it was the direction we were going for, like the gold standard in in 40K coverage. But
yeah,
GW, like I said, I'm not always the biggest fan. There are some things I sort of scratch my head at, and I don't really understand why they've done certain things. But I got to say they've really hit the nail on the head here, especially the dynamic between Paul and Nick. You've got, no matter what level of understanding of the game you've got Nick giving a really, really strong play-by-play that does appeal to people who understand what's going on. And Paul just he does a really good job of clarifying every little thing so that it's easy to watch and easy to digest and easy to understand. So I think they've done a few things really, really well here, and it really shows the production quality, and just as an experience to watch is really, really good.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. Okay, so before we finish up our 40K Today coverage, Matt, do you have any final shout-outs or anything you'd like to remind the viewers of things that are happening near us? Or last thoughts? Just the words of wisdom. Impart something to me so I leave feeling like I have grown.
Well, I just think it's worth, on this topic, it's just if you haven't checked out any of those games, the Warhammer Twitch channel did make them free to rewatch. Normally they have a subscription feature on that for you to rewatch the streams, but I think right now they're free. So even if you don't have a sub, you can go and check them out and have a look. And look, I think if you need something to put on while you're painting, or if you want to kick back on the couch and just put something on TV, it's an experience that's not like other 40K streams. I think it's really, really good. So if you haven't checked it out yet, you really should go and give it a watch, because it's really good.
Awesome. I love it. Well, I just want to say thank you, everybody who tuned in live to today's edition of 40K Today. A little bit of a lighter week. Of course, we will be back every Monday at the same time doing the live stream. This production, of course, brought to you by the Art of War 40K team. Make sure you check us out on the artofwar40k.com website. All the links and stuff will be down below. And if you'd like to join the War Room and be a part of the Art of War club, and get access to a whole bunch of extra stuff like clinics and whatnot, make sure you check us out, because we do as much as we can for all of you to keep you up to date, to teach you so that you can learn faster and enjoy the game that you love and enjoy. Other than that, I've been Scary, and this has been Matt.
Thanks, guys. Have a wonderful afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world. And we'll see you
Have a great evening,
later
morning,
this week.
And good night.
That's it. Have a great Tuesday.
And it is Tuesday. Okay, fine. It's 40K Today, Tuesday and Monday, because there's literally this little area divides the timelines. You got timeline number 1, timeline number 2. This is the better timeline.
You don't want to know what happens tomorrow. Just saying.
Facebook died. Oh, no.
All right. Thanks,
awesome.
guys. Have a great day.
Problem. Have a goodbye, everybody. Cheers. Bye.
Dive even deeper into competitive 40K and become a member of the world's most knowledgeable and positive community.
The War Room is an exclusive group that brings together the world's best 40K players as coaches to help anyone from a newer player to an experienced tournament veteran learn, grow, and reach their goals within our shared hobby.
Each week we offer a variety of live stream coaching matches centered around illuminating the thought process and in-game decision making of top players. We explain everything we're doing and why.
You'll learn about the ever-evolving meta, match play mission theory, list making, and discussion of every faction in the game, and have access to analysis of all the latest rules. Our team of highly experienced coaches teach weekly clinics on each individual faction, strategy sessions on deployment and cool tricks, and meta-analyses each week during Meta Monday.
We are committed to not only providing the best knowledge for players available, but also building a one-of-a-kind community.
Come be a part of the War Room.